Hello and welcome to another edition of Out of the Blue. I'm Mike Browning. This month, MTSU joins more than 400 colleges and universities across the nation going completely tobacco-free on campus. The new policy, effective January 1st, restricts use of all forms of tobacco products on campus, including but not limited to cigarettes, pipes, chewing tobacco, and snuff, as well as smokeless electronic cigarettes and other similar devices. It does allow the use of tobacco products in private vehicles. MTSU marketing specialist Rob Jansen recently produced a video starring former MTSU football quarterback Kelly Holcomb that humorously conveys the message to students and MTSU visitors alike that the campus is now smoke-free. Take a look.
Come all in. I call. I don't know how you guys do it at your place, but MT is tobacco free.
MTSU is celebrating its centennial with a new book, Middle Tennessee State University, A Centennial Legacy. The series of 13 essays shares a variety of stories about the university's rich past unknown to most readers. The cover of A Centennial Legacy depicts MTSU's architecture, both old and new. Essay contributors gathered recently for a special reception to celebrate the book's release by signing chapters. They included editor Dr. Janice Leone.
I think in terms of what stands out as unique, perhaps the essay on the architecture of MTSU, because it brings it up to date. It shows the movement of the school going from one side of Middle Tennessee Boulevard all the way over to Rutherford Boulevard, and the changes in the buildings over time.
A Centennial Legacy includes an essay on MTSU sports divided into three distinct eras, from pre-World War II, the Bubba Murphy era, and the post-Murphy era. Victories and Defeats is written by retired MTSU professor Dr. Fred Pierce Colvin.
The athletes in the early years were here for only 2 years, and later on some lasted 4, some did not. So the coaches are the more constant characters in the story, so to speak.
Chapter 9, From Teachers to Professors, provides a history of the professionalization of MTSU faculty, especially in the 1940s and 50s after World War II.
Increasing size of the university, and that means, of course, the faculty. After World War II, when veterans were swarming into the college, and money was coming in to invest in higher education, the National Defense Education Act made it possible for people who never could have thought of going to college to come to college.
The Legacy book also includes essays on student life, the firing of an English professor, and a period when MTSU fought for survival.
40s and how MTSU actually managed to survive during the 30s and then the 40s, especially when student populations went way down, and essentially it was occupied by women students. It's the first time we get a woman who's head of the student association.
Copies of Middle Tennessee State University, A Centennial Legacy are available at the University Bookstore. You can also learn more about the book in the fall edition of Honors Edition magazine. A Centennial Legacy isn't the only book celebrating MTSU's centennial. Traditions of Excellence, celebrating the centennial of MTSU by longtime editor Suma Clark, covers the colorful history of MTSU with entertaining stories, successes, and setbacks. Traditions of Excellence is also available at Phillips Bookstore and can be ordered from the Phillips Bookstore website at mtsu.edu/Phillips. Every month, the MTSU campus attracts a number of prominent guest speakers. Recently among them, Herman Cain, who at the time was a Republican candidate for president. Cain suspended his campaign 2 days after speaking to MTSU students about his business career, amid allegations of a 13-year-long extramarital affair. During the speech, Cain was interrupted by heckling.
Y'all done yet? Don't be embarrassed that those young people wanted to stand up and talk about that they're part of the 99%. We have freedom of speech. Some people simply abuse it.
Cain is a former CEO who turned around Godfather's Pizza. His speech to MTSU students had been arranged by the university's Jennings A. Jones College of Business months before the one-time Republican frontrunner announced his candidacy. Commitment to research is an important part of MTSU's mission. It can lead to new discoveries and make a tangible difference in people's lives. One example is the work being conducted by Sandra Stevens in underwater treadmill therapy for people who suffer from leg and spinal cord injuries. Andrei Ogrodnik has been confined to a wheelchair since a life-altering car accident in 2009. Twice a week he travels from Franklin with his wife Natasha to MTSU's Exercise Science Lab to work with Dr. Sandra Stevens.
My hope is to live normal life like I used to before injury. It's my goal.
Before his accident, Andrei worked as a carpenter, and before immigrating to America, he served 2 years in the Soviet military. So he prides himself in trying to be fit and active.
And I think any kind of exercising and activities, it's very helpful.
More than exercise, Andrei is a testing participant in MTSU research with a relatively new technology, simply known as an underwater treadmill.
Especially this kind of therapy underwater. Right now I'm more hopeful. It was more than 1 year ago that I heard about this kind of therapy in MTSU.
After writing a letter to MTSU's Health and Human Performance program last August, Andrei got accepted into the study, testing people with severe spinal cord injuries.
He started the middle of October, so just a little over a month.
When the treadmill starts moving, Dr. Stevens helps Andrei's legs start moving in the water.
But it's harder for him to get as much weight bearing, so we do a couple of different things. One, to try to get the weight bearing in, and one to try to work more on the resistance in the movement. And it's the same thing with stepping, that in an infant that's just a few weeks old, if you put them in a weight-bearing position, they'll step, and that's beyond them having the cognitive ability to understand stepping or the motor skill to be able to walk. So it's considered a reflexive position, a reflexive response to weight-bearing. And so that's what we're trying to build here, that if you provide the appropriate sensory stimulus, then that's connected to an intrinsic motor output that you're going to be able to facilitate. And that's it.
After 12 minutes, Andrei is given a 3-minute rest, then repeats the therapy for a total of 4 times per session.
Some kind of, yeah. Like before this, I did some walking, but not in the water. So
Andrei previously worked with robotics therapy and at a rehab center in Ukraine, but this underwater treadmill is different.
I think this kind of therapy is more, it's like another level. I can feel, I can feel a huge difference, yeah.
Others in a group study who have used the treadmill for longer periods demonstrated increased improvement in leg strength, balance, and the number of steps they took on their own. But Dr. Stevens says a larger test group is needed.
If we could get a couple of other centers to say, well, that's intriguing, the results you're seeing are intriguing, and we would like to support that.
Andrei doesn't know much about research. All he longs for is the day when he can return to remodeling work, as difficult as it seems right now.
So right now, it's impossible to do. Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's my dream and my goal. It's very good to have people around that they can give some kind of helps and the hope, not just helps, because it's much easier to give somebody glass of water or yeah, to give some help, then it's much harder to give some hope. Like my wife Natasha, she always talked to me very nice, and she believed that some days I will be on my legs again. So it's very important.
Thanks to Dr. Stevens and funding from the National Institutes for Health, MTSU is a leader in underwater treadmill research. In addition to helping victims of spinal cord injuries, the research has potential usage in treating diabetes and obesity. You can learn more about MTSU research in the new MTSU Research magazine or at www.mtsunews.com. We'll be right back.
See an increase in the numbers of Chinese students on campus. We see that both at the graduate level and at the undergraduate level.
At its heart, education surrounds us with everything we need to reach our dreams. It puts us in the middle of a host of opportunities. One university puts you in the middle of everything. Middle Tennessee State University, Tennessee's best.
In our cover story this month, we take a look at how MTSU has become an international hotbed of activity, particularly in its cultural, historic, and economic connections to China. In a world with increased global relations, it's no wonder that Middle Tennessee State University has formed strong relations with universities around the globe. Several of these university partners are located throughout China, a country with a diverse cultural history and a strong economic future. Because of MTSU's ties to China, during the Centennial Gala celebrating the 100th birthday of the university, a group of special guests were in attendance.
During the Centennial Gala, we invited 4 universities to participate. One is from the China Cultural University, another one is Hangzhou Normal University, the third one is Hunan Normal University, and Northwestern Normal University. We had 19 delegates from these universities. They are all our very strong partners. They send students to us and we send students to them.
In addition to celebrating the Centennial Gala, these Chinese delegates were also present at the dedication of MTSU's brand new College of Education building. Because of the partnership between MTSU and these Chinese universities, there has been an increase in the number of international students coming to campus from China, a trend that has increased with the desire to invest greatly in global education of China's young people.
We see an increase in the numbers of Chinese students on campus. We see that both at the graduate level and at the undergraduate level. There's been a pretty dramatic increase in the number of Chinese students in U.S. campuses. For the past 5 years or so. And according to the statistics just recently put out by the Institute for International Education, of the approximately 720,000 international students, 22% were from China last year. And of course, another reason is the perception that education in China, higher education in the United States, is of a good quality, and Chinese families are historically have been very willing to invest in the education of their children.
It is predicted that if current growth trends continue, China will surpass the United States as a world superpower by the year 2030. Not only will this set the stage for global change, it will also greatly impact the Middle Tennessee region. One of the unique ways that MTSU encourages a continued interest and understanding of Chinese culture, history, and language is with the brand new Confucius Institute, first opened in the spring of 2010.
The Confucius Institute at MTSU is established in partnership with Hanzhou Normal University in China, sponsored by Chinese Language Council International in China. The mission of the institute is to help to promote the learning of Chinese language and enhance the understanding of Chinese culture in the community. The reason for us to promote the Chinese language learning and the understanding of Chinese language is to prepare people in this region, in this community, to be ready for the change of the world, to be more global sensitive, to be more global ready. We don't have to wait for another 18 years to to go to that point, but now China is the biggest trading partner with Tennessee. So we import stuff from China. We also export from Tennessee to China more than to any other countries.
With the desire to expand global awareness in mind, the Confucius Institute organizes and sponsors various events to expose students, faculty, and surrounding community to just some of the many rich cultural experiences of the Chinese people. One such recent event was the Song of Silk, a concert of songs, instruments, dance, and Beijing opera.
Last session, all the book tickets were booked, and we had a full house. People enjoyed the show. They see the unique Beijing opera performances and other performances too. The interest is there and it's very high. And we have a lot of requests about the cultural event. And we just had a workshop, Chinese calligraphy workshop at Belmont.
With the future in mind, it's important to remember that we are not just a nation of diverse individuals, but a world of people with viewpoints to share and cultures to experience. In an attempt to bridge the gap between Chinese and Western cultures, MTSU is preparing its students and community to succeed on a changing global stage. MTSU's most recent collaboration with the Chinese is a new partnership with Quanqi Botanical Garden of Medicinal Plants in Nanning, China. Now, as a result of the partnership, MTSU has the opportunity to study thousands of extracts from plants that have the potential to treat a variety of diseases and possibly be used for pharmaceutical development. Read more about it in the January edition of MTSU Magazine, available later this month at mtsumagazine.com. Back in a moment.
I am True Blue.
As a member
of this diverse community,
I am a valuable contributor
to its progress and success.
I am engaged in the life of this community.
I am a recipient
and a giver.
I am a listener
and a speaker.
I am honest in word and deed.
I am committed to reason, not violence.
I am a learner.
Now and forever.
I am a Blue Raider.
I am a Blue Raider.
I'm a Blue Raider.
True Blue.
We started in 1911 with a clear mission to train Tennessee's best teachers. For the last 100 years, Middle Tennessee State University has carried out that mission and so much more. Nationally recognized as an affordable quality university, the #1 choice of undergraduates in Tennessee. As we celebrate our centennial, we look with pride at the past. We look forward to the future. Check out why we're Tennessee's best.
The MTSU men's basketball team is off to one of its best starts in more than a decade with a record of 9-2 as of mid-December. The Blue Raiders revenged an earlier double overtime loss to Belmont by defeating Belmont at Murphy Center 65-62. LaRon Dindy led MTSU with 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocked shots. Dindy blocked a last-second shot to help MTSU secure the victory.
And I thought a huge factor in the game was our crowd. I thought that was one of the biggest factors in us winning the game, without question. I mean, that crowd was absolutely terrific. It was electric in the last 2 or 3 minutes. And games like that, you're really proud of your players and really, really proud for your fan base.
Resolutions aside, we hope you get the new year off to a fantastic start and have a year full of joys, successes, and blessings. Starting 2012, we asked our commentator, electronics media professor Bob Pondillo, to provide some inspiring thoughts.
As a brand new year stretches before us, I recall a story my mom told me once. It's about a woman who was met by a knock at the door one late New Year's Eve, and there standing before her in the misty night is a hunched, bearded old man with very sad eyes. "And what do you want?" snaps the woman. The man opens a tattered satchel he carries, and a bright golden light pours out. "I have something for you," says the man as he places a tiny glowing bundle in the woman's arms. But this is a baby," sputters the woman. "Yes, ma'am, it is," says the old man. Look into the face of a brand new year, so full of hope and promise, so full of mystery and wonder, so much potential for good things, says the old man. "Yes, I see," says the woman, "but what's this got to do with me?" "Well," says the man, "I want you to take care of her now. You're all this little baby has." "But no," protests the woman, "how shall I do this?" The old man whispers, "Just don't do what they did to her last year. Treat her with the kindness, love, and respect she deserves. Do that, and next year around this time, you won't have a pocket full of regrets." The woman's eyes grew wide as the baby cooed and she rocked it gently. "Well, my time is short," said the old man as he walked back into the misty darkness and was suddenly gone forever as church bells rang and hunters shot guns into the air. The new year personified as a newborn is an ancient and appropriate symbol or metaphor because a new year, like a new person, does take us grown-ups to tend it and love it and help it grow strong and wise. And that's always been the charge of the old year to the reluctant guardian, in this case you and me. Be vigilant. Don't harm this precious new thing that's been entrusted to us. And maybe after all these thousands of years, maybe this year we'll get it right. And next year, we won't have a pocket full of regrets. For Out of the Blue, I'm Bob Pondillo.
Thanks, Bob, and Happy New Year, everyone. For more information on MTSU News, be sure to go to mtsunews.com. That's it for this edition of Out of the Blue. Until next time, go Blue!
Join us in celebrating 100 years of MTSU history. Check out the Centennial timeline at mtsu.edu/Centennial.